Hello, my name's Clive Smith, and welcome to this MBL Seminars webinar on minimum sentencing in firearms cases, avoiding a minimum term. I'll just start off by introducing myself, and then I'll introduce the course, and then we'll dive in. For those of you I've not had the pleasure of meeting or have not tuned into one of the webinars that I've recorded with MBL previously, my name's Clive Smith, as it says there. I'm a barrister. I'm called to the bar now just over 20 years ago. Spent 11 years in practice doing criminal defence work in London, based in chambers there. And then in 2015, left full-time practice and picked up my teaching with MBL and a handful of other clients as well. Did everything from road traffic and shoplifting, rape, murder, and a fair degree of firearms cases as well in practice, and had to argue, not very successfully, I have to confess, as to whether or not a judge should avoid passing a minimum term. Always quite high stakes cases, which is part of the motivation behind this course, and hopefully giving you some assistance and guidance. So what's today's course about then? Let's just move over to the outline. We are going to look at a number of issues. Firstly, the minimum sentencing provisions and age, just to clarify and be clear what the relevant terms are. Then we'll turn to credit for guilty pleas and answer the question, can the minimum term be reduced to reflect credit? Now, important to understand this because it works differently in relation to firearms than it does in relation to other offences such as burglary or drugs offences, for example. And then we'll turn, as ever, to look at the case law, which gives us some guidance and talks about the circumstances which may result in the minimum term being lowered. And then we'll look at some case law and circumstances which have allowed a custodial sentence not to be passed, or at least not an immediate custodial sentence anyway. And then talk about advising clients on arguments that are commonly rejected, what I refer to as managing expectations around sentence. A difficult thing to do, isn't it? We're many things as advocates. One thing, of course, is an advocate, but equally, we need to give good counsel to our clients and explain to them. And I'm sure most people would start off with the phrase that it's always very difficult to avoid the minimum term, and the chances of it happening are slim. However, we may be able to argue that in your case, or we may not, or that they're simply not getting off the ground here. But either way, it's important that our clients' expectations are managed carefully.